Ethan in Southern California. You're on the Ben Shapiro Show. Go for it, Ethan.
Hey, how's it going? So I have a few friends that I've grown up with, and they're on the left. And my question is, when having conversations and I use statistics that I hear from your show, they just say, that's not true. Where'd you find that? Where'd you hear that? If they're willing to have a conversation with me, where's the best place to get statistics on the spot, and where do you get your statistics?
So I generally get my statistics, frankly, from like mainstream media publications, from peer-reviewed studies, from the government itself. There's all sorts of sources where I get my statistics. Usually on the show, when I cite a statistic, I explain where it came from. So whenever I talk about the number of unarmed black men shot in America every year, I cite the Washington Post. There's a full-on Washington Post database, and you can go and you can check it. If you're talking about studies on disproportionate police shootings, for example, Roland Fryer has done good work on this. He's one of several studies on this particular issue. If you're talking about income inequality, there are a wide variety of sources ranging from Abigail and Stephen Thernstrom at the Brookings Institute to members of the Heritage Foundation to Coleman Hughes, who have done investigations into wealth and income inequality. I try to cite sources because I know that people want the sources. But if you ever are in search of a particular source I'm citing, feel free to email me. My email address for everyone is bshapiro@dailywire.com, and I'm more than happy to give you the sources on what I discuss. I try not to speak out of my tuchus, so to speak, and when I cite a stat, I typically use a source that is fairly well accepted.
Cool. So if you're having a conversation, it's probably best to come prepared with some good sources and statistics on conversations you think you might be having with that person.
Yeah, generally that's right. I mean, I will say that I think it's very often done in bad faith when people are like, so what's your source on that? And you've like, if it's a friend, typically if you say like, it's a source, I know it's real, I just can't remember it right now. For the sake of the conversation, they should assume that you're not lying. But I understand, like I do this all the time in conversations. I've been doing it since college, where I'll cite a stat and somebody will say, where is that from? And I try to keep in my head where all the stats are from. If not, then thank God you have a cell phone. You can pull it up, and generally that stuff is pretty easily available.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, I really appreciate that, and I enjoy watching your show. I watch pretty much 80% of your shows.
Well, that's pretty good. I appreciate it. Let's get that up to 100%, Ethan. Really appreciate the call. Michael in Indiana, you're on the Ben Shapiro Show. Go for it, Michael.
Hey, love listening to your show. I believe that over the next few months, there could be a major shift in what I know as America today. I'm currently raising a family, and I've really started to kick off my career. Now me and a lot of my family, and I believe many others, feel like they're being forced to stay silent during this increasing movement that we're seeing in some of the larger cities across the U.S. in fear of losing our jobs or careers. This pops up on social media quite frequently, examples of this. So I was curious, how do you suggest we start showing our support against this growing movement that many of us are seeing in the larger cities across the United States?
Well, it actually starts with people in power saying no. So if you're a powerful person, if you're a person who doesn't have to be canceled, then refusing to be canceled is the number one thing. If somebody comes to you and they say, we demand your apology for X, Y, or Z, you should just say no. Like Tucker Carlson, I disagree with him on a lot of stuff. Here, he is exactly right, and he's really good at this. People come for his head pretty routinely, and he'll just say no. Not happening. It's very important that people at the top of sort of the heap be able to say no, because what cancel culture really is about is intimidating everybody else. It's saying to Tucker, okay, or me, we're going to come after your advertisers, and if you refuse to acquiesce in this, if you don't cave to us in our opinions, then we're going to go after you and ruin you. And if you cave to us, then we're just going to go after people lower down who have a lot more to lose. So it's really important that people kind of top line defend against this. If you are, kind of low on the food chain in a particular company, it's very difficult because you really are taking your own career into your hands by saying things that are true. And this is why if cancel culture continues this way, what you're going to end up with is a series of companies that are for the woke and then a series of companies for everybody else. Because basically the woke culture is trying to make at least half the population unemployable just by dint of the viewpoint they hold about America right now. And it's really dangerous. I mean, I talked about this a little bit earlier on the show, is what Major League Sports is attempting to do right now, what professional sports is attempting to do by cramming down a particular message, is the idea that if you refuse to accept the message that America is systemically racist, you are yourself a racist and bad, and you can be canceled just on the basis of not agreeing that America is a horrible place. That's really dangerous stuff. Corporate America is doing this more and more. the only way to fight back against that eventually might be for people to stop patronizing these businesses, which I would not prefer, or for people to start alternative businesses, or for these corporations to learn that they really should not be involved in these sorts of issues because it has nothing to do with the business that they are in, Michael.
Okay.
I mean, I wish I had an answer better than that. I wish I had an answer that says, stand up and say what you believe, and there won't be consequences, but that obviously isn't true. I mean, I think there are people like me out there who will stand up and fight with you, that if you get fired for saying something true, that I'll find a way to support you. But I think that the basic notion that we can do that for, tens of millions of people who feel under threat, it's very difficult. Now, should there be flashpoints? Absolutely. Do you want to be one of those flashpoints? That is your choice, right? Now, I'm not going to recommend to anybody they put their career at risk because I'm not the one who has to put food on their kid's table, right? I think that if you want to stand up and fight, and then you want people like me to resonate to what you're saying, then I'm happy to do it. And I think it's really important that people, again, in positions of power with a loudspeaker do that. And we try to do that a lot over at Daily Wire. But I can't recommend that everybody take on that risk because that's a personal decision that everybody has to make individually.
Okay.
Well, Michael, appreciate the call. Hang in there, dude.
E aí pessoal, beleza? Aqui é o tradutor. Eu tô passando para avisar que eu tô numa campanha para conseguir pelo menos mais 10 apoiadores até o final do ano. Eu vou ficar muito feliz se vocês conseguirem dar esse apoio pro canal e tal. Esse canal não é monetizado, então totalmente depende de você. E esses são meus apoiadores, são pessoas que dão uma força pro canal. E se esse vídeo tá chegando até você hoje, é graças a essas pessoas que fazem isso acontecer. O Warlei, a Sandra, a Majestade, o Thiago, o Antônio, o Arthur, o Carlo, a Erika, o Rubens, o Caio, o Flávio, o Gustavo, o Vunho, a Spanish.vaz, o Eduardo e a Sarita. Muito obrigado pela força, vocês são meus heróis e heroínas, sério. E é isso aí galera, valeu, fui, grande abraço.